It has actually been quite some time since the Pixel 4a and the iPhone SE first launched. Both these phones are value kings because they provide an excellent smartphone experience at a great price point. But they are two very different devices and picking one for yourself can be really hard. Let me help you decide. I'm Rohan from TechieTechTech and let's compare the Pixel 4a to the iPhone SE. Here we go. The Pixel 4a and iPhone SE are as different from each other as can be, and that can clearly be seen when we talk about the build quality and design. The iPhone SE is a very old design with huge bezels, a home button, and a 16:9 aspect ratio display. It has a glass front and back with an aluminum frame in the middle, which gives it a very premium in hand feel. It is an excellent option for those who are comfortable with this design and yet a terrible one at the same time for those who want something that looks a bit more modern. Cue the Pixel 4a. While it does not boast of the same metal and glass build as the iPhone, it does have a design that is in with the times thanks to the edge-to-edge display on the front. This edge-to-edge display allows the Pixel 4a to pack more screen than the iPhone in roughly the same footprint. That's a huge positive in my books. However, a certain space where the Pixel 4a could lack for some is the design. Now don't get me wrong, I personally love the understated matte black plastic look. It is discreet and unassuming. However, not everyone wants discreet. Cue the iPhone SE. If you want your phone to grab attention, the product red or even white iPhone SE look far more distinguishable than the black Pixel 4a. This is a very subjective matter, so I'm not going to go ahead and call a winner, but the differences in design are quite fundamental. Talking of fundamental differences, let's talk displays. I mean, they are worlds apart. The iPhone SE packs the same LCD display as the 4-year-old iPhone 8. It is good enough for day-to-day usage, but not the best for stuff like movie watching or even gaming. For that stuff and more, the Pixel 4a's display clearly takes the lead with a much larger AMOLED display that has better colors, deeper blacks, and a higher pixel density, which makes text look noticeably sharper even if you're not pixel peeping. What's more, if you're used to a modern smartphone, moving back to the iPhone 16:9 display and home screen navigation felt really regressive. It is doable, but it's not fun. Frankly, there's just no competition here. When it comes to the display, the Pixel 4a is worlds better than the iPhone SE. Where the iPhone SE is worlds better though is performance. The Pixel 4a packs a mid-tier CPU which is decent for day-to-day stuff and even some casual gaming. However, you cannot expect a lot from it and there's a noticeable difference compared to what you see on flagship smartphones. The iPhone SE packs the same A13 CPU as the more expensive iPhone 11 Pro. It is blazing fast and everything runs quickly. Even performance intensive stuff like heavy games and video editing runs smoothly without as much as a single frame drop. The iPhone SE might not be good at everything, but it is definitely the most powerful phone you can get at this price point. And all this performance actually goes a long way. We keep our phones for multiple years now, and I believe that the most powerful phones will run smoother for a longer period of time. It is what we have seen happen with iPhones and many flagship Android phones. Definitely keep that in mind when you're choosing your phone. Now let's talk a bit about software. I'm not going to go ahead and declare a winner between iOS and Android, it's purely personal preference, but I would like to highlight a few key things. Both the iPhone SE and Pixel 4a represent the best of their respective ecosystems with a smooth and bug-free user experience. Apple has an unbeatable record when it comes to long-term software support. If there's anything which can compete on the Android camp, it's the Pixel lineup. Google provides timely Android updates for 3 years, while Apple has a 5-year update cycle. Another massive point to consider if you're planning to use your phone for multiple years. Let's talk about the cameras now. In terms of optics, both smartphones sport one camera on both sides. The iPhone SE has a 12MP f1.8 camera, which is the same as that on the older iPhone 8. However, it is powered by the newer A13 Bionic chip, which also powers the iPhone 11 series, so we can see some improvements. On the other hand, the Google Pixel 4a sports a 12.2MP f1.7 snapper on the rear. Similarly, it has also been used in older Pixel smartphones, But the name of the game with pixel cameras has always been excellent software processing. Let's find out how these smartphones with old camera hardware powered by new CPUs and new software perform in real life. As always, we'll talk about the photos first and then move on to the videos. The primary camera performance on both devices is very different. Apart from the white balance differences, the iPhone SE shoots pictures with high dynamic range with respectable details. On the flip side, the Pixel 4a shoots contrasted pictures with accurate colors and better noise processing. Now, even though both smartphones have 12 megapixel sensors, the Pixel 4a offers digital zoom, which is really helpful while shooting portraits. Subject separation performance is also great on both devices. However, the pictures shot on the Pixel 4a have better depth perception than the pictures shot on the iPhone SE. The iPhone SE has a 7 megapixel f2.2 front camera, while the Pixel 4a sports an 8 megapixel f2 selfie camera. Both smartphones shoot sharp selfies. The overall image quality is very similar to the primary cameras. When we talk about low light comparison, there's just no competition between these two phones. The Pixel 4a has a dedicated night mode on both cameras which shoots brighter and sharper pictures, while the iPhone SE has trouble in low light because of the lack of a proper night mode. Moving on to the videos, the iPhone SE is a step ahead when we talk about the video resolutions and frame rate support. It can shoot videos in 4K at up to 60 FPS from the rear cameras, while the Pixel 4a tops at 4K at 30 FPS only. The Pixel 4a shoots sharp videos with well saturated colors. On the other hand, the iPhone SE shoots videos with high dynamic range, amazing image stabilization and excellent amount of details. To conclude, if you're looking for a smartphone that takes better pictures every time you press that shutter button, the Pixel 4a is definitely the better choice. On the contrary, if you're more of a video shooting person, then the iPhone SE clearly trumps the Pixel 4a. But all in all, both these phones have very capable camera modules, especially in their price segment. Time to discuss the battery life, another area where both phones perform vastly differently. The Pixel 4a has great battery life, easily lasts a day of heavy use and can be stretched to 1.5 days too. We are talking roughly 5 to 6 hours of screen on time here. Google has some amazing AI implementation which slowly learns your usage patterns and improves the efficiency as you use your phone more. The iPhone SE, on the other hand, it has bad battery life. Sorry, there's just no easy way to say it. It used to be fine, but after the iOS 14 update, I'm never able to run the iPhone SE for a full day on a single charge. In my usage, I needed to charge the phone by around 4 to 5 pm if I started my day with 100% in the morning. I am hopeful that Apple will eventually fix it with a software update, but until that happens, the Pixel 4a has objectively better battery life. A couple of things to note now that we are talking about charging. Firstly, the iPhone SE supports wireless charging, the Pixel does not. Secondly, if you buy the iPhone SE now, you will likely not get a power brick in the box, so factor the cost of that in. You will get a fast charger in the box with the Pixel 4a. Now, before we conclude, let's also talk about a few key things. Both phones have stereo speakers and both sound great to me. The iPhone SE offers IP67 dust and water resistance while the Pixel does not. The Pixel has a headphone jack which the iPhone does not. Both phones have extremely fast fingerprint sensors, although at different locations on the phone. Now both phones have great call clarity, although the iPhone has a louder and more clear earpiece comparatively. Still, both phones are great for phone calls. In conclusion, I'll just say that even though the iPhone SE and Pixel 4a are priced similarly, they are very different phones meant for very different types of people. If you're picking between these two phones, just go ahead and list out your priorities, what you want in a phone, and what's better for you will become obvious eventually. I hope this video helped you out, and if it did, help us back by liking this video, sharing it and subscribing to our channel. This has been Rohan from TechieTechTech and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.